Hello, everyone. We did not want to keep you waiting for the sequel. We got it to cinema very, very quickly, Tim, as this one deserves to be on the big screen. FaZe vs W7M2 Electric Boogaloo.
Oh, we thought we'd get that break done as quickly as we got the first map done, Jackie. A big, big victory for FaZe there. 7-1 on Oregon, and they come out looking like the team that we know and love from stage one. Much better than the first two play days, and all it has taken is the reversal of roles. So KDS and Live, they have swapped places within the lineup, it seems, and boy, have they both come out invigorated from it, absolutely dominating W7M. There was nothing that they could do. It was completely out of their hands back on Oregon. Will things change up here on Cafe, though? It's a map that we have seen consistently banned out against W7M, so does that tell us something about the performance that we might see from them on it? Are other teams scared of playing them? FaZe certainly weren't. They're happy to go here, and they're going to try and close this one out and claw back 3 points in stage 2.
Let's see how it is going to go as we head into our second map. Bit of a 6-pick play coming out. Off for the smoke and on to the Warden. A cheeky move to make there from Astro. Let's see if it will pay off towards the end of this one. We're back on Cafe, Tim. What are you feeling like today? What's the dish of the day?
Dish of the day today, honestly, Jackie, I'm feeling like a really good burger.
Oh yeah. What sort of burger? What's going on?
Well, for me, I love like a double barbecue bacon cheeseburger.
Oh, you were prepared for that.
I'm slight in stature, Jackie, but I do not mess around when it comes to food. W barbecue bacon cheeseburger. So you've got 2 burgers on there. You got some cheese in between. You got a couple of strips of bacon. You got some barbecue sauce. That is definitely my burger of choice.
Oh goodness. That sounds like the, God, is it, from The Simpsons, the heart attack burger?
I don't think it's quite at that standard, but it's certainly not messing about.
Where it's like,
definitely need some exercise on that day if you're eating one of them.
Oh, yeah, just pure burger into the old arteries. Let's see, though, what arteries are going to be seized into this one. As we head back into the game, opening round, let's see who will be doing the punishing and who will be the ones receiving the punishment.
The rooftop control is just being applied now. The hatches being opened up, and that is going to allow them to start putting pressure onto Astro on the Warden, and he will be shut down in short order there by Padrin as he moves in and gets aggressive into Cigar. So that's going to be the Warden off the board. A bit of a shame we won't get to see exactly what the plans were for him necessarily. Don't see that gadget used too often. He does have pair of special glasses that allows him to see through smoke utility particularly, and also to negate the effects of any flashbang or candela that he is caught with, but can be a tricky one and quite situational just to use to any great effect. Now, you can see KDS has taken some damage there in the back bar storage area as well. The wall being opened up into Piano. Pressure is mounting for FaZe right now, and W7M, Padrin, the Punisher, comes in with the punishment and sits Live down. That is his second kill on the round, and it's 5 versus 3, heading into only the halfway stage of the round. Not looking good for FaZe here in round 1.
Now, picture this in your brain box for anyone watching at home as well. W7M have not had an opportunity to play on Cafe yet this season. It's a map that they're very well versed on, and they certainly know how to serve up success in the greasy spoon of Dostoyevsky. Right now, they are doing some damage. It's already a 4 versus 1 into this round with 60 seconds left. Ion, though, does have a fighting chance potentially. Can Castle defend his keep in a 1 versus 3? Spots out a bit of elbow. Ooh, and W7M are trying to make his life so much easier, doing damage to themselves as Panico nearly blows his legs off. Bucks Ghost there, fighting back with a nade as he nearly blows himself to bits. Ion getting a headshot off with a UMP. The Universal Machine Pistol, serving up Universal. Amazing punishment if you can just get the angle. Tim tried to overstep, wanted to go round on the close corner, get the peek onto Hertz. He knew that there was an opportunity to pick it up in the 1v1 versus the Sledge, but he gets gunned down, trapped in the position. Hertz goes for the peek, and they do secure themselves a first round. A first round that would have been incredibly clean, but it did start to go wrong, and then went from bad to worse very, very quickly.
It's fine margins, isn't it? It's always fine margins that we're dealing with. Ion really getting himself a decent distance along that road to a clutch, but just as he peeks into back bar, so he's an absolute fraction, a couple of millimeters away from picking up the head of Herds, and if he does that, he's in a 1v1, and at that point, it is absolutely anybody's, but he just doesn't peek far enough around, and Herds is able to move forward and get the kill onto the castle. And that was a tough one for Iron. It's a real shame. You could just see a different set of circumstances where he gets that kill and at least leaves himself with a fighting chance. But FaZe, they are going to lose the round to open things up, and W7M, they desperately needed that. The last thing they wanted was FaZe coming in here and just continuing the onslaught of Oregon.
Rough. That is really rough. That's an unfortunate round, obviously, to go in the manner it did for FaZe Clan. They nearly fought back into it. If you win a clutch like that as well, you would have been tanked up. The whole team speak would have been gassed. Everyone would have been loving it. They would have been so hyped coming into this game off the back of the win they've already found in the series. But here's the flip side for it. W7M, this is your map. This is your home turf. You've come out strong with the initial opening round. They were hitting some tasty shots. A couple of plays that definitely left me a little bit confused and scratching my head, looking towards Panico with the nades there. But we'll let it slide. They won the round, so it doesn't matter. At this point, it can all be forgotten. Ayo, nearly forgetting how to breathe there as he tried to run away from the bullets cascading through a wall, Tim. That would have been a sickeningly quick opening entry frag if Pulse's pulse flatlined.
I'm just having to dash away there, nearly getting hit through the soft wall, but will escape with his life, and the play goes on for W7M. They are going to try and take control over top floor here. We are, of course, attacking onto the reading room site. So if you can get yourself in there and get some good control, they've got the sledge on board with Panico. He will be able to open up a large portion of that floor above site. You get that vertical control, force the defenders away, and then it's just a little hop over the balcony, drop down to pillars, and move straight inside the reading room door to the default plant spot. And it's very difficult to challenge onto that if you've lost that vertical control as a defender. But we can see Ion on the pulse. He's now back in sight. He's going to do some hard work in here, and he's going to just be trying to feed in as much information to his team as he can. And as that vertical control comes in, there is always the option of a nitro from him. So that is one to watch out for. See if he can make that utility pay dividends. He's just feeding back in that there is a man there playing inside of pillars. The challenge does come in. Astro will shut down Padrin. So that is great comms there. You just saw firsthand that information being picked up by the pulse and fed into Ion, and just closing it down.
Nice bit of chilling classical music to try and slow the tempo of the round and bring us back into a nice state of mind. W7M needs to keep their composure and see if they can conduct this round into a nice classical win. Keep it going with the style of play we've already seen. Unfortunately for them, they suffer another casualty. Live, killing another man, leaving them dead on the ground. Sledge has been broken as well. This is not looking good for the side of W7M. There's a bit of bite coming back, but it's too late. It seems like the bark of FaZe Clan is so much louder, reaching huge decibels as they crush them under the pressure. Live, performing fantastically today. This is so much more like the Live of old. This is the man we've wanted to see for the previous two play days, Tim.
We kept saying it. We said, you know, it's absolutely no fun for us to see a player struggling in that way, especially one who we've seen such great performances out of previously. And so to see Live getting himself really functioning, up and running here is a great sight. That much is for sure. But FaZe coming out there, this is turning into already a map of very big blows. We are talking about haymakers coming in from both sides here. W7M convincing in that first round, 4 versus 1 at a point. It was down to Ion to fight back, and he did good, but ultimately it was a hell of a body blow from W7M. But FaZe, they come straight back with one of their own to the jaw of W7M, and they just make them take a step back, I'm sure. And these two are going to continue trading as this one goes on.
I think that's probably the best outcome we can hope for as well. Because obviously, if this is FaZe Clan now getting back towards their true power level, I'm liking that. I'm thinking that's the dream position we want them to be in. We need them to perform well. They are a huge roster with a big backing behind them. They have to live up to that mark. But for W7M, this is their territory. You've walked into their domain. Right now, you are definitely in the lion's den. You never want to be in a lion's den, Tim. That's just not going to work out well unless you're a lion tamer and this is some sort of, preset negotiation where you're going in there to give the lion food. You're just going to get mauled.
Well, that's it. If you're not going in there with a big chair, to, as your only line of defense. And even then, you know what, Jackie, I'm still going to feel shaky about that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it depends as well. You go in there with a plastic chair, it'll probably just eat the chair and you. You know, that's the thing about Lions. They're quite big.
Probably just use the chair as cutlery.
Oh, yeah. Break it into like a little fork, a little stabby stick. Dude, imagine that. If Lions had opposable thumbs, that's it. It's game over.
Oh, forget about it. It's absolutely job done at that point.
It'd be ridiculous, wouldn't it?
Just as ridiculous as we find ourselves here. So far, the performance from FaZe has been ridiculously good, as they have shown us that they can really turn things around. When their backs are against the wall, and there's absolutely no question coming into this play that is exactly the position that they were in. 0 points so far on the season, and to say that they were major finalists last time around, that is not something that they have shown us so far. But they are showing now that their bite might actually just be worse than their bark. Finally, 1-1 it is in the round, but 7-1 they started us off on Oregon. This is the second map of the best of 2 against W7M, and we can see FaZe holding on to that top floor dearly. Not really any progress from W7M into the map drastically here. They've not got themselves any control of Piano. We're halfway through the round. In comes the nade, just trying to clear out anybody that they can from the top floor, but unsuccessful really. A small amount of damage done to Yuna, but he's just going to dip himself back into the freezer there on the Echo. He'll be trying to use those yokai drones as much as possible, keep them alive in the late round, and just deny any potential plant. And very difficult to get into him to have any real impact in the freezer. There's no destructible floor beneath him, so he is pretty much safe unless assaulted from directly in the center of sight.
Oh, talking of assaults, look at that! Herds, that man has been turned into a prime rib as he gets served up on a platter. Response coming back though, as the chefs are angry. Quee! His vision's going to be dipped as he tries to push forward, looking for the light into this round, but hopefully avoiding going into the light. Trapped in a 1 versus 3, likelihood of him coming out on top is slim. And in the end, it's completely taken away as Yuna charges round on the Echo and picks up the pieces to clean out the round. Another one getting wired into the bank account of FaZe Clan already, as they looked very decisive into that encounter. Unfortunate for W7M, but it's good to see FaZe already starting to find their footing once again, and it's on their defense as well. That's one of the bigger talking points for me. I think FaZe, right now, if you're able to have a solid defense, it sets them up for success in the later game once we have that side swap coming over.
Yeah, I think you're right. Ultimately, W7M in that last round were just unable to really get themselves established inside the map. We see a beautiful headshot there onto White Stairs. And if your Ash is moving up White Stairs and getting killed without getting boots on the ground on that top floor, if that's what it's come down to, then you're going to struggle. You know, there's absolutely nothing wrong with an east side push, but they are not easy to achieve. You need to do something to start dislodging those defenders. Usually that's get down into reading, open up the floor beneath them to force them to move away, and then push in to the east side and use that cocktail balcony to your advantage. Try and get yourself established in there and move forward. But ultimately, W7M just couldn't get themselves really established inside of the map there, and it really paid dividends for FaZe. They just held their angles and killed them as they moved in, and really, there was no teeth to the attack from W7M.
Imagine that. Like a gummy shark, a gummy tiger, just with like no teeth. Just getting in there, just gumming you up like a koi.
Well, at that point, I suppose you could... I was going to say you could make an argument that it might be, a more suitable sort of interaction with a tiger, but you've still got the claws to think about, Jackie.
Oh, yeah, no, you're still getting, you're getting
still
mauled.
Going to do you some damage. They are big paws. Big paws.
You're still getting mauled, but it's also, obviously you go to like a fish pond, or you go to like a garden centre, and they got that koi carp pond. You put your fingertip in, and a little carp comes over and like sucks in the end of your finger. Be like
I don't think it's going to work out quite the same with the tiger. I think there's still a good portion of that claw bite attack available.
Yeah, the little combo. That's what we've seen come out here, I think. Pedrin, he's gone in, expecting the teeth to have been removed, forgotten about the claws. He's been swiped. Ion, he's going to come out as well with the right-hand claws. Right hand, straight across the face of Herds. He has been dealt with. At this point, you're left into a 3 versus 5. This is a horrible looking round, Tim, for W7M. And a lot of it has been down to the aggression we've seen coming out from FaZe. They have had a complete grasp on this all the way from the get-go. As soon as the starting pistol went off, they have been slapping them, going for the wide peaks, taking the fight towards them. And W7M have no response. They're not really getting themselves into a position where they can actually play for trades either. And KDS, at this point, all he's got to do is stay alive. That's the game plan for him. But Panico, he decides to kick up the tempo as he peeks into the site, clearing up 2 of them. Unfortunate for KDS there. He was so low and all it took was 1 bullet to bring this back from a 5 versus 3 to a 3 versus 1. The 1 being Yuna. Goyo in the kitchen, walking around. Can this man cook up something tasty and clutch round 4? Or will it go 2-2? W7M showing a lot of resilience here, but they still have to get it over the finish line. Yuna slowly skulking his way round, creeping into position. He hasn't spotted Panico, hiding in the stairwell, lurking in the shadows, and he'll be sitting pretty as they've somehow brought back an unbelievable deficit into the round to win it against FaZe.
Great round from W7M, and it really doesn't feel like this fixture should be 2-all. It doesn't feel like it should be square on the scoreboard. W7M have been struggling to keep in tow here. FaZe Clan just seem to be tearing out in front of them, but ultimately, one way or another, W7M, they've kept themselves within touching distance, and they are poised here to take themselves a good first half still, but there is work to be done. They cannot rely on rounds like that. It was a great double from Panico to get them back into the matchup there, to really fire them up, and the team responded well, got themselves into position, and just collapsed quickly onto FaZe and got themselves the next couple of kills on the board, which then left it very, very difficult to be overturned at that point. And as you say, Yuna just completely unaware of the man just hiding out under the stairs there, able to shut him down and close out the round. So in round 5, we're going to be heading back to the reading room now. We'll see if W7M can do a better job this time around of taking that top floor control. As we know, last time the final kill came in from Cocktail Balcony. There was no top floor control in place for W7M whatsoever, and it is essential when attacking onto this site.
That's crazy. That's a hell of a comeback into a round, though. Like, fair play for the resilience there of W7M. If you wondered why we were kind of hyping up their cafe gameplay, it's because they can pop off on this map. And it's also because this one man did not panic under pressure. Panico going against his namesake here as he played perfectly into the round, netting entry frag after entry frag and getting them the impact kills that they needed him to barely get themselves back into it. Beautiful play the whole way through, and of course this now means the game has gone 2-2. It's tied up, but it's looking a lot more competitive here in Dostoyevsky.
Ion has brought the pulse along once again, obviously valuing the information that can be brought from that heartbeat scanner. Just playing out there at the moment, we can see that scanner working overtime right now to try and pick anybody up, very aware of the potential of a white stairs push, which is what we saw W7M attempt the last time, and it was shut down, so it's no surprise this time to see them just reverting back to a more standard cigar room push. But we can see the IQ of Panico just getting up on the rappel there, looking with the scanner, just trying to find that pulse potentially. Of course, IQ's scanner does have a longer range than the heartbeat sensor of pulse, so she does have an advantage in that matchup. She can see pulse before he can see her, so not always a bad move to make to try and track him down and put some damage early round.
A minute and 40 seconds, no casualties yet. A very slow round this time around. We're not seeing any initial aggression that could be used against W7M, and no overextensions from FaZe, learning from their mistakes and playing a more reserved style. The IQ scouting out and scoping out, getting a lot of information off the back of the reconnaissance and trying to figure out where exactly FaZe Clan have set up and what particular plays they might have gone for in terms of the utility brought into this round. They've got a fair bit of delay tactics up their sleeves, obviously on Astro, but on the Legion, that man can be a massive nuisance maker if played in the right manner towards choke points, of course, to just slow you down, make your life so much harder when you've got so many fawns in those lion paws.
Final minute, we come into it. 5 versus 5, still all 10 operators on the board. Ion still able to feed information into his team as to the location of the attackers and where the push is coming from. And right now, W7M, They've got themselves into position. They've got themselves angles and surrounded the defenders here, but they need to just be very aware of the potential for that top floor being used against them. There are still defenders on the white stairs who can rotate. We've still got the Legion of Astro up on the top floor, and those vertical angles will be used to hurt them if given the opportunity. 25 seconds left to go, and there's very little choice here but to start pushing into sight. We can see the challenge. Out comes the Nitro. It could be big, but no, I think the man is just shut down and held away from being able. The Nitro likely shot out. We can see able to sneak into sight. Panico gets himself a double, but Yuna and Ion, they keep things squared away. Out comes the pistol onto the Goyo. He gets him. That's 3 on the round for Panico. Can he find himself more? Right now, the diffuser is in place. Gi is starting to get it activated on the ground. Astro gets himself 1. There comes the kill from Frieza. 1 versus 2. 1 versus 1. Astro does the job. He gets himself a double at the end of the round. Moves in to disable the diffuser, and that was an absolute brawl in the last 20 seconds.
Mate, there's so much that goes into that round. So many twists and turns. It was like an M. Night Shyamalan movie. The amount of guessing I was doing of how it was going to go, Tim, is ridiculous. Basically, the self-attack, the silent assassin play from Panico, getting the first, being able to follow it up with a tight corner onto the second, and the most awkward 1v1 I've ever seen, where he wins by pistol whipping the man that pushed him. That's ridiculous. That is a round that I will not forget anytime soon. Absolutely bizarre, but finishes putting us into this position. A 3-2 split now off the back of FaZe picking that one up and somehow scrambling to win it.
I mean, FaZe looked like they had every advantage coming in there. The Nitro was obviously shot out as it was thrown by the Mute over to the reading door because he wasn't able to detonate. But ultimately, they still had that vertical control. They still had the option to just quite simply drop over the barrier, hit him on the flank. There was many different things that FaZe could do. But somehow, W7M just gave a real account of themselves, made you feel like it was possible every second for them to win it. But ultimately, coming down to a 1 versus 1, and Astro just kept himself cool there and able to shut down the last man, get onto that diffuser. But it was a hairy few moments, that much is fair to say, especially if you are a FaZe fan. Now, we find ourselves 3-2. FaZe doing well here. They can pick up a 4th potentially on the defense. They are back up on the top floor of Bar. They did win this in round number 3, but did lose it in round number 1. So they are 50-50 in this location so far on the day. The possibility is really here for W7M to come out and to level things up here before they head onto the defense.
Critical final round here. This is your last opportunity to get any ounce of edge moving into your second half. For FaZe, it's the dream if they take it 4-2. That'll set them up for a massive success onto their attack. For W7M, it's a matter of survival. It's a matter of getting themselves into a position where they can actually keep the game competitive and keep it close. If they can at least tie it up here and split the scoreline right down the middle, 3 rounds to 3 rounds. Right now, a few seconds in, still got about 2 minutes and 10 seconds on the clock. Not too much has gone down, of course, just the standard early round play coming out from W7M, as they'll open up the hatches, give themselves multiple entry points, and work their way down from the top floor to clear out and see where exactly FaZe Clan are posted up. If they're going to be posted up like gangsters, or if they'll be able to spot them out and worm them out early on. Utility being chucked in to try and burn out those ADSs and give them a clear pathway in, as they seem to be attempting to take control over towards Cigar.
Well, that defensive utility has been burnt away now and should allow them to move in and clear that shield out, and that will force KDS further back into the washroom, or potentially even rotating around White Corridor and back into sight. I think he's actually just rotated into the back bar storage area, so they must have the hole opened up there to allow him to do so. But one way or another, he has been forced away from Pixel Corner in Piano, so that allows W7M to start moving in and gaining control of that side of the map. And Padrin, I'm sure, is going to be looking to make some impact with the ace, get in there and start opening walls up in towards that freezer area to make it more difficult for the defenders here. Now, you can see more utility being taken out. That is the shield dropped from the cocktail door. Shots will rain across from Herds on the Ash. He's been unable to have too much of an impact in this game so far, and I'm sure he would love to take a round by the scruff of the neck. We can see Yokai Drone just pinging out information there, left, right, and center, using those yellow pings just to identifying where the attackers are coming in from, heading into the last 35 seconds. And once again, it's another slow round in terms of the opening kill.
Panico, fantastic adjustment there. A slight flick, a calculated one, and a fantastic frag to pick up. Yuna on the overextension, it felt like he was going to go down, but he stays alive. Live, in fact, is the one getting the frag, but he'll be overthrown. Close quarters combat going in favor of W7M, and it seems like the whole round will go in favor of W7M. Astro, your only play is to try and keep your heart pounding and deny the diffuser going down, but he's been denied. He's the one that goes down, as Freeze Out will make him freeze, quite literally, ending it at the closest possible position there towards the end of the first half. 3 rounds to 3 rounds. The game is tied up when we get to the side switch.
Absolutely nothing to separate these two here, and this is a lot more of what we expected to see between FaZe and W7M. FaZe coming in 7-1 on Oregon was a bit of a surprise to us all, but W7M, they've not been shook by it too hard, and they've got themselves back into the fight here. Of course, if they can win the map on Cafe, then they will take 1 point, and they will share the spoils with FaZe, but a draw or a win will benefit FaZe. It will be 2 or 3 points respectively, depending on exactly what that is at the end of this match. Now, first site is an interesting one. We're going to the mining room. It's not a site that we see too often, Jackie. The mid-floor site tends to be reading room out of choice. W7M, maybe, I'm sure they've got a strat in mind here. I'm sure they've got a player that they're going to be bringing. They've got the castle on side with Guy. An interesting choice to begin things on the defense.
I almost want to go out on a win here and say they're going to use this to play hyper-aggressively, potentially. I feel like they've got the roam to actually be able to manage that. Also, glancing back over as well, just to point this out in terms of his performance today, because it has been ludicrous. 11 frags to 3 deaths. Panico, not only has he had clutch round hims, but pretty much all of those 11 frags feel like they were impact frags. He's been absolutely giving it. The man is on one.
Oh, he's been going big. He's been going big round after round with Sin. A number of times we saw him push into Reading and get himself a couple of kills. We saw the double down in Kitchen, and it's just every time his team really needs it where they're starting to fall behind, and there was a couple of kills picked up at the same time as the double in Reading Room when FaZe just got themselves firing, but Panico just kept things level and gave them every opportunity. Ultimately, they lost the round, but they were still able to get that diffuser down and fight to the very end of it. And Panico right now, as you say, is an absolute staple for this team, and the mirror is going to be played by Padrin just looking into Piano, and that will make it difficult to push from Washroom, but they do need to be careful of the south side rappel, because obviously utility can be reined in, and it looks like that is exactly what Astro is trying to do. He's got the mirror really pinned down at the minute, and this sort of locks it in. There's not much that Padrin can do there, but how about that? Padrin just takes a little run and allows Panico to take the jump out and get the opener onto Astro. Great headshot, ripping the man off the rappel.
That's ridiculous. That's absolutely balmy. They've pulled off the play, hook, line and sinker. They have baited him in and made it work. Not only did they get away scot-free, they get themselves the frag as well. Look at the damage done, though. Even though you've lost Padrin, everyone is low on the side of FaZe Clan. Live, barely alive at this point. The man might as well just rename himself to Dead right now, as they're left in such an awkward position. A 4 versus 4. Panico on the pulse as well. Back on vitals, looking around, trying to see who is actually alive at this point. The roam from Freeze Out as he dashes out of there. They've got sight control. They've got their firearms, and they are itching on the trigger, ready to end the lives of any one of the FaZe Clan members. Grouped up in a bit of a wolf pack at this point, and they need to be. They have to play for trades effectively, as they're so low. They could have someone cough near them, and they would topple over. Yuna dashing out the Selma device. This will remove those hard breach walls and give him an entry point into the site, and give him an opportunity to fire off pot shots from the stairway. Ion, he instead takes the mantle of opening up the vertical angles, looking to try and drop the hurty verties on anyone that might be lurking below. They're doing good in terms of at least giving themselves opportunities here, Tim, but they're just so restricted when it comes to their overall HP and the position they're in the round, and the fact that you've got Panico, the man that could be the most devastating roamer in this round if he's given a chance.
they just can't push into those gunfights with any confidence at this point. As you say, they are going to lose the lives quickly. Ion falls, and he was one with more HP, if anything. That is a terrible, terrible moment for FaZe in terms of this round. They've got themselves inside, or at least towards reading room, pushing through. Freezow gets the kill onto KDS, 2 versus 4, and this looks like it's going all in the direction of W7M, and it is only seconds until we see the end of the round. That's round 7 going on the board for W7M there, and I've just got to come back to that opening play, Jackie. What a huge piece of teamwork. I really hope that that was discussed and purposefully timed. It certainly appeared like it was. We've got the run out now. Look at this. The mirror, just at the absolute split second that jump out is coming along, the mirror moves across just to force those shots out of Astro. Padrin it's almost as if he said, right, I'm going to move across the door now just to take Astro's attention, and it's an absolute freebie for Panico. I'm going to call that as beautiful teamwork. I hope that is exactly what the plan was.
It had to be, right? They had to count that down. They played off his contact, and they played perfectly. Really smart moves, clear-cut comms there, and the way they executed it. Flawless. Flawless through and through. And for W7M, they have the lead. For the first time in this game, they are the giants standing at the top of the beanstalk. And FaZe Clan, they are Jack, attempting to climb their way up. Start climbing quickly, Tim, or this beanstalk could keep growing. They get themselves to 5 rounds. They are 1 away from a guaranteed draw here. They get themselves all the way to 7. Of course, that is a victory, and it will split the series 1 map apiece. The scoreline back on the first map of Oregon was ludicrously one-sided in favor of FaZe Clan. They destroyed them at every single encounter, whereas this time it has been much more of an equal fight. FaZe Clan have had their rounds, but W7M have certainly had their rounds as well.
History isn't on the side of FaZe here. That's the problem. We've seen them play on Cafe so far, and on the attack, they struggled. They only got 1 win out of 5 rounds on the attack. They were unsuccessful attacking Bar and Cocktail twice, unsuccessful attacking Kitchen twice. So the 2 generally accepted primary sites, they were difficulties for them. They managed to get 1 win on the reading room. Astro comes in with a big opener onto Panico, but that was just about the time that a rehost was being called, so we can see everybody just leaving the lobby there, and that's not going to matter for FaZe as an opener there. It's going to be sort of stripped away from them as we go to remake the lobby. That was already called for, so we will get that one back to you as soon as possible. But as I was saying, Jackie,
in this game, I don't know what that transition was, but we're back. We're carrying on with this one.
You went for it, Jackie. You went for it. You committed, and that's all that we can ask for.
Look, honestly, Tim, you know, since 2004, I've been an entry fragger. If there's one thing I've learned in my life, you just got to have confidence and just go for it. Half the time, it pays off.
So W7M, they'll be looking to pocket themselves a big win, Jackie. There we go. That's the transition that I think you were looking for. They are looking to come away with some prize money jangling in that pocket of theirs, and they are looking to take everything that they can here from FaZe to enable them to push towards that major and ultimately fight for that big cash prize and the SI bonus points as well. But there's a long way to go before we start making decisions like that. And right now, W7M, they need to focus on the task at hand. They've got themselves ahead here. 4-3 they find themselves. And it's the first time in the match that they've actually been ahead here. FaZe have been very, very strong and difficult for them to move. But as I said previously, coming in historically, what we've seen from FaZe is them struggle on attack here on Cafe, and they are going up against a site that in stage 2 they are yet to actually win here on attack, so they're going to have to overturn the odds if they want to square things up and put a 4th round on the scoreboard for themselves.
Right then, let's see how this one is going to go down. This game has been very competitive so far. We've had some wacky rounds, we've had some crazy clutch rounds, and we've had some awkward plays that have fueled those crazy clutch rounds. Into round 8, though, let's see who is going to be moving on. If W7M will get themselves a 5th and get ever closer to the draw or the coveted win, and if FaZe Clan can equalise the scoreline once again. Ooh. Suspicious to see if we can actually catch Freezow if he does go for this play as well. You can see him softening up the castle barricade, of course, getting those melee hits off so that it's in that breakable state. So when he wants to go for a wide play, but bombard it down and do something drastic and crazy, he can. If we will see a bombastic play coming out from him, though, is yet to be seen. So we'll wait and catch that one, hopefully a little bit later on. Rise of the Automatons coming out, though, as the drones will head in through Cigar early on, looking to do a little bit of reconnaissance. Only gets one of them off with a buckshot, couldn't quite take them down, and unfortunately for him, suffers a bit of a heavy hit from the grenade, but he's given so much leeway! How's he got two of them? Big Papa Pump is a greedy man! As he slays two of them towards Cigar, he's quite literally smoked them, Tim!
FaZe taking full advantage of the power of the shotgun there and giving W7M yet another big start in a round. First one coming onto KDS through the soft wall, and then the second he just steps out and takes the man down. Astro will square things away though. FaZe Clan certainly not being rocked here as they find themselves 3-0. Astro on low health at this point, probably 2 bullets away from death, so needs to be very careful with how he proceeds. Can't be throwing his life away too easily, and look at that, the Goyo, an absolute pixel away from exposing himself. That will happen. Out goes the Nitro. Great kill onto Ion, and that will be the advantage once again for W7M. Herds really stepping up and using those explosives to great effect. Just tossing it through. The hole opened up in Freezer and absolutely shutting down the man. 2 versus 3. Both on low health here. Live just above half. Astro on about 27. This is going to be a big job now for FaZe Clan to shut this round out. They've got the clock on their side. 1 minute left to go. Plenty of time. They've got the drones. They can use those to gather as much information as possible. But ultimately, action is what is going to be needed. And action is what comes out of Herds as he steps up with a headshot onto Live. Gee gets one of his own onto Astro, and W7M take round 8 and put themselves further in the lead. They are heading at breakneck speed towards a draw and towards putting another point on that league table.
Here we go. The temperature on this one is really starting to reach some new heights. The barometer is rising. The temperature's way down low. And tonight, Tim, for the first time in history, it's raining potentially a draw here against FaZe and W7M. If they can maintain this pace and keep it up for another 2 rounds. If FaZe Clan have let it slip, if they can't get back into the game on their attack, they will be paying for it, and they will be very sore in the morning after this one, as they are getting a good seeing to right now from W7M. We return with the game into round 9. Their defense has been great. It's really let them come out of their shell. They've been able to play into it an awful lot. Props to FaZe as well. I don't know how in the universe he was able to get away with a 2-pump play towards Cigar. That is madness.
It certainly is. And I'm not too sure about the site choice here. W7M wanted to avoid kitchen. They've successfully defended bar and they've successfully defended mining, so they don't have a choice. It has to be reading or kitchen. But given out of the 2, FaZe Clan, they have won a round previously, historically, 100% win rate on reading. They got the diffuser down, they played the objective well, and they showed some prowess on this site. Whereas Kitchen, they are yet to get a win on Kitchen. So really the stats would support Kitchen as being the site to go to against FaZe. 2 unsuccessful attacks there so far. We'll see how the round plays out. I can see W7M's confidence coming out of that mining hold, given that it is another mid-floor site and very similar process for holding down reading. So they're going to hold on to that top floor for as long as possible, opening up the vertical angles as well, just to try and make it difficult for FaZe to move around. You can see the angles they are opening up lead onto those doorways. So as FaZe try to move across, they can be challenged vertically as well.
Drone ready. Throwing magnet.
Okay. This is a pivotal point in the game then. A critical round to pick up, and potentially a very interesting duel here, a bout between FaZe and KDS that could be occurring. In the meantime, though, over at the barn, we see Herds getting the first kill, as he'll stun Astro with the SMG. Backing off, FaZe giving up control towards the shield, realizing that all was lost, as that ship will be sunk, going down off the impact coming out from the grenade launcher there from the Ash. For their side, it's not looking ideal for FaZe. You've lost the first pick very early on into the round. You've got 1 minute and 40 seconds left to contend and try and pick up the pieces. You're down a man. What do? Where's the play? panic right now as they reposition, sending in the drone to at least get close contact. They spot out Freezow and know where he fell back to. They do have another drone to utilize, which is the shotty, and misses the initial shot. Dashes out that canister. Smoke will fill the hallway and deny the oncoming onslaught for a few seconds at most. He's got Big Papa Pump ready, locked and loaded. Slugs waiting to pop off and try and pick up a couple of frags. If they push into him, Tim, he could do some damage.
This is not the first time that Freezo has proved himself to be an absolute brick wall on this defense. Ion is who's going to shut down Herds, so that leaves us now in a 4 versus 4. Freezo tries to get aggressive, but completely closed out. Here come FaZe. They are absolutely romping through this map here. They find themselves now 3 versus 2 with vertical control, and they need to make it pay dividends. They also need to be careful just how much of themselves they expose as Panico. He comes out with the Nitro, just looking to use those vertical angles wherever possible. He's just absolutely fractions of millimeters from getting a line of sight, but ultimately will be pushed away from reading, and that is exactly what you are trying to achieve with your top floor control. FaZe is now in a position to hop over the balcony and get the diffuser down potentially. They do get caught out with a backstab from Padrin though. He's going to punish them, shut them down with a headshot onto Live. 2 versus 2. We find ourselves 20 seconds and the clock is ticking, working against FaZe Clan. It could be the 6th defender. We've seen it so often. Stepping in through the reading door. That puts the diffuser down on the ground. Panico with an important kill once again. How many times have we said that here on Cafe for W7M? They've found a way. They've shut the round out. They are just escaping with their lives at the minute. Ion gets one onto Padrin though. Can't pick up the diffuser and get into sight. Has to chase the kills. And ultimately, as I said, that clock becomes the 6th man and wins the round for W7M.
Man. Seemed like maybe there was a very slim chance there towards the end. He went over the banister, but he couldn't banish them. Couldn't take them both down. They kept their distance. They played it smart. Didn't give him a chance. The one frag he got was just that. A mere consolation frag at the end of the round to give him a little bit of steam. But overall, they have picked themselves into a brilliant position here on Cafe. W7M, we were hyping up their Cafe gameplay. This is a map that they can excel on, and they have put their foot down, Tim. They are accelerating. Big MPH all the way to the finish line now. One final round is all that's required, and they will split the series. 1 map apiece. FaZe Clan, you might have 7-1 them back on Oregon, but it seems like this map has Oregon a completely different way. Cafe now looking like it could be a 7-3 victory here for W7M.
If we'd have seen this W7M on Oregon, able to get in and be aggressive like that and win rounds from difficult positions, we could be seeing a very different overall result here. But W7M have guaranteed themselves a draw, so at absolute best now, it is 2 points for FaZe Clan. One more round, one more mistake from the FaZe Clan will see W7M reduce them to only 1 point, and another disappointment for FaZe. I am sure after Oregon, they will have been certain that they were going to come in. They will have been confident that they would come in and get themselves an overall win. However, Ion comes out with a big opener. That's an entry onto Herds, and that is a big start for FaZe Clan. When they have no room for errors, they will not make one to start with.
Not ideal. Definitely a rough way to start off the round. Risky business when you get into a position like this. You know you're at match point. You can afford to try and slow it down a little bit. It's not the worst case in the world, though. You do basically have 2 rounds of buffer to throw away if you need to, but don't let them get close towards that 6th round. You can afford to make a mistake into this one, but start to realize you might have to rein it in going forward if it hasn't worked now. FaZe Clan, they get a very early entry frag off the back of the Vigil play. Yee. He could actually make a mockery out of him here. Playing towards the stairway. Oh, but cheeky stuff with the drones. Brilliant use of it there. That camera relaying all of the information over. He knows he's there. He won't extend around. Live pretty much should just rotate off at this point and head in for a different perspective. Or he can wait and see if Gui will rotate and find a frag off the back of it. Going in, will probably be suicide though, Tim.
Live really should not be peeking that. He is going to lose his head too sweet. It's not a problem though as the nade rains in, and that's going to force Ski away. That was exactly what the action Live needed to take. He had to get that man moved. He couldn't push in through the window as it was. FaZe now looking to move down the white stairs, starting to get themselves into a position to push towards site. But Freezo, he's going to use that shotgun once again. Big Papa Pump coming in and doing some real business. We've seen it a number of times now. Shuts down Ion. That is the book gone, and that is the vertical destruction gone along with him, so they will be restricted now pretty much to the lines of sight that they have already got in place. 4 versus 4, and we find ourselves nice and even in terms of man count coming into the last minute.
So close towards the final 60 seconds. 4 versus 4, a bit of a stalemate into the round. Based off the fact FaZe got such a fast entry frag, you would have thought they would have kept the tempo rolling. Instead, they have slowed it down massively. Now looking to use their utility to drop nades in from above, through the holes in the floorboards and create even more entry points. They have a hatch right there. They can drop in, leave one player there, working the vertical angles to try and get off a tasty little frag to give them an entry point. But right now, they're not getting it, and they might get fragged if they're not careful. Where's the response? KDS, is this man deaf? There's no trade. He doesn't flick around. He's been shot in the back of the head by the shotgun, and it's taking it into a 3 versus 3. 25 seconds on the clock. Live, cracks open the diffuser. He gets it down. Padrin the Punisher running through the smoke to try and smoke some fools, but he's acting a fool. Gets gunned down by Astro. 3v2. They've got the diffuser down. They've got a hand on the round, but Panico and Gui, can they somehow save this one? They rotate over, using those vertical angles that were created by FaZe Clan against FaZe Clan, Tim, but they're not given anything. No opportunity to get a kill, and time is rapidly ticking by. If they're going to clutch this one, they need to go now.
FaZe in a position to just use that defensive utility against the defenders who deployed it now. They can just hide behind those reinforcements, those deployable shields, use those angles to their advantage, and that's exactly what they do as Live steps out with a big kill onto Guy. The time ticks by. There is absolutely nothing that can be done now. Live, he secures himself another to shut down Panico, and that's going to be the round to FaZe Clan. They don't make a mistake here in round 10, and there is absolutely no room for mistakes whatsoever if they want to take away the lion's share of the points. It looked a little bit dicey for FaZe, I have to say, coming in there, but they managed to just stealth their way into sight and get that diffuser down, and it just goes to show how important playing the objective can be. It's not always about going in on the team deathmatch and getting those kills. Sometimes you can just completely flip around on its head by activating the diffuser, and that's exactly what FaZe did at the perfect time.
That's so scary as well. Oh, KDS, man. Tim, the amount of shots that were being taken at him, and he still had time to switch over to the shotty. Oh,
it was so strange, because that wasn't even about hearing him. He literally took shots at the player, didn't he? He
was getting shot in the back of the head.
He actually took shots at him, and there was just no reaction whatsoever.
It was bizarre. Oh, I don't know. Right, Tim, lucky stuff. I mean, FaZe Clan.
They got away with one there. They got away with one.
It's getting scary, right? Especially when you think about the fact they got that entry frag. They were basically gifted that one at the start of the game, killing the Vigil on Herds. Crazy stuff. We've got a tweet coming in, though. Hashtag BR6. If you have some thoughts and feelings about this game, send in your tweets. We'll get them on the stream. Laura, the not-so-good gamer, how are you guys doing today? These games are so awesome. Hashtag BR6, hashtag Siege, hashtag LATAM. Laura, you are not wrong. These have been some bagging matchups so far. And this game, a game that looked like it was pretty much done, put in the pine box and shipped off to the graveyard, Tim, it has come back with a vengeance.
Well, I mean, to answer a question, Jackie, how could we be doing anything other than fantastic with the quality of games that we've had so far? A real mixture, some unexpected results. We've had the whitewash of 7-1 coming in from FaZe, really dominated Oregon, and then we've had a super close game here. We've had tight games between Furia and Santos. It's been an absolute pleasure to cast these games so far.
I've loved every minute of it, Tim. I always enjoy my time with you and big man producer Simon and the main man Jacob on the replays. But when we get games like this, it just brings the whole family together.
There goes the Toxic Babe cannon. I think that was very well landed on the little fire exit sign there as well. Clever placement to just secure that one and just slow things down as the push comes into Cigar. That is a bad nade for the smoke, though. Live shuts down Freeze out, and there goes the castle barricade and the shield with him. I don't think it's possible to get any more value out of a frag grenade.
Cooked perfectly and used brilliantly. This is where things start to really crumble. It's looking a bit rough here for W7M. 4 versus 5. Back into a 4v4 though, and from a substantial distance, Padrin trying to go for a long shot and see if he can knock someone's block off, but he can't for now. Bullet's getting blocked. He's got to retreat and try and stay alive. In close proximity with Herds, they can buddy up and play together for the trade if necessary. It seems like there could be a backstab forming as well, and Guy might have been the one to pull it off as he's assaulted Astro, coming in with a headshot and taking down his crack. putting a bullet through where his thoughts get processed. Bullets through the walls as well, as Panico is going crazy. Gets the assault onto Yuna and Tim from an opening frag for FaZe. It's all starting to fall to pieces. They certainly look like they've been phased into the round as it's all on KDS. But will his KDA be good enough to clutch this one? Finds the first frag. Headshot on Padrin. 2 more to go. He's got to overcome the hurdle of herds and shut down Gee with 50 seconds to try and do it in. Walks his way out towards the site. Bullets whizzing in from behind. He peeks towards the shield. He was given an opportunity, but he couldn't land it. Gets the reload in. He spotted him. Surely that's got to be a frag, and he does find it through the rotate hole. He won't land the shot, Tim. KDS crumbles to bits as Gee will pick it up on the Wamai. They've only gone and done it as W7M clutch it out in the 1v1.
So close to KDS there. I really thought he was going to hit the man in freezer and to clutch that one out and send FaZe battling into the final round, but absolutely not. W7M having absolutely none of that. They come back from a 7-1 hammering on Oregon and manage to get themselves a draw overall. That is 1 point each for FaZe and W7M. And while FaZe, they certainly look like they are in the midst of a resurgence from the